If you're working on Lease Part 2 or Network Provider Part 1, then you're probably looking for a COFDM signal transmitter and a Virtex programmable processor. In this guide, I'm going to show you the best tech spawn locations to help you find them as efficiently as possible. These two items spawn on Reserve, Lighthouse, the Lab, and Streets of Tarkov. However, from my experience, the place with the most spawns is Lighthouse. If you're on PvE, you can go ahead and skip to the locations on the timestamp, but if you're playing PvP, I would highly recommend running as a scav, as there are so many possible spawns for these items that you might as well run it without any risk. If you play as a PMC, you're going to have to jump from area to area, and the likelihood of you getting killed is quite high. The spawns on Lighthouse are so dynamic that you might not even have a shot at certain tech items as a PMC. It's just not worth the risk. Also, a lot of guides out there are focusing on loot spawns in general, which is not going to be our priority in this video. We're going to go to the rare tech spawns to ensure that you're finding the items you're looking for. Some Virtex and COFDM spawns are far more consistent than others, so I'll highlight the best ones to check first to save you time. And later in the video, I'm also going to run to Reserve and Labs. Those are both excellent alternatives if you're getting burnt out from Lighthouse and maybe you're not having any luck. There are timestamps below if you want to quickly jump through my video at any point. The first spawn will be at the Chalet, which is the most southern building that has the tennis courts. So the first place that I like to go is inside of the garage with the Mercedes G-Wagon. And then you're going to check these shelves here. You could have some techs and rare loot spawning here. Check on the floor really quickly. I have found Virtexes down here. And check behind the car on the cardboard box piles over there. So once you've checked there, you can go inside. And on the shelving here, you have a chance of having your tech spawn. Once you've looked there, move inside to this table, and along the table and on the chairs, you have a chance of having your rare tech spawn. Next, you're going to go upstairs in the room that has the pool table, and you're going to check on top of the boxes, as well as on top of the pool table, and on top of the shelves. This specific spot right here is where Virtexes can spawn as well. And once you've checked those locations, you can run all the way down to the bottom floor and skip all these other rooms. And you're going to go inside of this little pool right here. On top of the body, there are two specific spawns. You're going to have to check both of them on the body. It'll be really obvious if your tech spawns are there. Next, you're going to climb up, go outside to the balcony, hang a left, and you're going to check this broken box right here. I have found countless Virtexes and COFDMs in this specific area right here. This is one I would rush immediately. So the next location we're going to look is straight north to the USEC cottage. I will admit this is not a great place to go look for the tech spawns. However, there is a chance they could spawn here. So if you have the keys and you're in the area, you might as well do it. You will need the USEC 1 and USEC 2 safe keys. So I'm going to go inside of the cottage to the top floor, and I'm going to go to the first safe, open it up. Now these safes are kind of interesting in that the objects will actually spawn on the shelves. So once you open it up, your objects will just be sitting there in the open for you to grab. So once you've checked the first safe, you can move down to the other side of the house on the same floor, and you'll find another safe. Again, this is a spot I would almost never go to, but if you are near the area and maybe there's action in the spots you want to move to, this might be a good alternative just while you're waiting for things to cool down in the raid. So next we're going to cross the road and head towards the lake where the cottages are, and we're going to go to the Marin spawn. Now just to note, if you don't spawn near these cottages at the start of the raid, the odds of you getting this are extremely low, as this is a place that PMCs will often loot right off the bat. If you're playing PvE, you don't have to worry about this. You can just go in here whenever you'd like. So for simplicity, I'm starting at the cottages, and I'm going to run up into the location where the Marin is. The easiest way to get a landmark is that it's at the base of the big hill that overlooks the water treatment plant. So there's a red car right here, and you can see there's the big hill with a dead tree on top of it. And you're going to use your Marin car trunk key to unlock this trunk. And inside, it is so frequent that you find the tech spawns. Because I'm playing an offline raid, there's a very low loot pool. Now, the next place we're going to go to is the village on the other side of the road. So I'm starting at the front of the convenience store, and I'm going to be running down to the hillside house, which has a couple of tech spawns. And in order to access this house, you need the hillside house key. You're going to find one of the openings to get inside of the property, and then you're going to use your key to open this door right here. Once you go inside, the only times I've ever actually seen it is in the areas that have a lot of space for things to spawn. So underneath this cabinet right here and under this other cabinet right here. Also, if you go in this back room, there is a spawn inside of the sink. Do not forget to check inside of the sink. So that's it for the southern part of the map. Now we're going to move into the water treatment plant where things get a little more complicated. I'm not going to show you how to kill the rogues and enter the compound safely. All I'm going to do is actually show you where the tech spawns are. So here I am in front of the fuel tanker on the southwestern side of the compound. I'm going to walk inside and just show you where all of these spawns are. So here I am at the grenade launcher tower. I'm going to run up to the first floor of this tower, and there's going to be a green box on the ground by the sandbag. And inside of this green box, you have a chance of finding your tech spawns. Now, before I head into building number 1, there's a series of spawns around this area by these tents that I'm going to show you. So make your way into this first tent, and you're going to quickly check all of the shelves, the couch, the oil drums. Anything that has a surface has a possibility of a Virtex or a COFDM to spawn. And then you're going to head over to where this light has crashed over into this box. I personally have never seen it in there, but some YouTubers have said they have seen it. But I have personally seen it inside of this box right here. And if it's not there, you can go to the top of this first tower, and in the corner of the back, there's a rare loot spawn right here. Now I'm going to go back down where I came from, and I'm going to go inside of this tented area here. And inside of this container to the left and at the bottom, in this box right here, you can find a tech spawn. Now I'm going to head over to the other tent across from the BRDM, and on the floor in the back next to the little fireplace, on the floor on this crate, you can find rare tech. And if you turn around, there's a broken box right here, and inside of this box you can also find your rare loot. Around the lighthouse, there are broken boxes that look like this, and inside of each of them, there could be tech or rare loot that spawn inside of it. So that's the first one in front of building 1. There's a second one over here. And then once you've checked those 2 boxes, you can go inside and hang a left. So I'm going inside of building 1, I'm taking a left, and then in the corner of the room, there's a bunch of little boxes, and your Virtex could spawn on one of these boxes. You're going to turn around and head towards the other side of the building, and you're going to have to use your operating room key to open this door. Once you go inside, you could find your techs inside of this room. Just check all the shelves and the beds as quickly as you can. Now, after leaving the operating room, hang a right and head across the hallway to the other section. The first room will be a medical room, and there is nothing for you in here, so you can skip this and continue and make your way on to the next room, which will be on your left, and there could be tech that spawns on these desks. So once you've checked this room, you can continue and head to the back of building 1. And once you go outside, there is a broken crate right here where an item can spawn for you. Please note that there's a machine gun nest on that tower, so if you haven't cleared it, you could get shot. Now we're going to head over to building 2. So once you're inside, you're going to head to your left, and there's going to be an open room, and your tech can spawn on the table right here. And this is where a transmitter spawned for me. And it can spawn in the crate just like that, like loose loot. So once you search this room, you can head back where you came from. Please note that this room here is locked. you're going to have to head to this room right here, and this will be your water treatment plant storage room key. Once you open it, there are various spawns in this room. You're going to check the shelves, inside of the boxes, inside of barrels, just check everything you can. And normally your items are large enough that they kind of stick out and you can see where they are. Your next room is going to be right beside the water treatment plant room. It is unlocked, so you can walk right inside, and then you're going to check inside of the boxes once again. It could be sitting very low inside of a box. Check all the boxes in the room and on the floor. So that's it for the lower portion of building 2. Now you are going to run on top of the roof because there is a tent where rare tech items can spawn. You're going to head all the way up to the middle area of the roof, and you're going to look inside of the boxes on the table and in this back section over here as well. So that's it for building 2. You can now head to building 3. Once you're inside, you're going to head up to the second floor and you're going to check this broken box right here. This is such an incredible spawn. It is very frequent that you will find your tech just sitting there. So if you can, rush that spawn immediately. The other place is inside of this box. This is also another incredible place to check. So once you check those 2 locations, you can move into the back rooms. This first room is empty. You can move into this back room where there is a ashtray and beer bottle. Rare loot can spawn on that table, so make sure you check there. And that'll be it for building 3. Now you can run back into the drug lab, which is located in the train yard. I've seen tech spawn in various locations, so check the furniture, check the tables, check every surface that you can in this room because I've seen it in some bizarre places. Even on the table where the plants are, sometimes your tech can spawn there. Now, once you're done in the drug lab, there are a couple of broken boxes inside of the train yard, and they're located fairly close to the drug lab. So one is straight across from this fuel tanker right here. You can check inside of it. And the other one will be behind you, closer to the drug lab, and it's on top of these crates right here. Once you've checked those spots, you're gonna run all the way back here and check these boxes right here for rare loot. To be honest, all the boxes in the train yard have really low loot pools. So the final place is back near the main entrance, and in the middle of the 2 tracks next to this truck, there is one last set of boxes where you can find your Virtex. A healthy alternative to running Lighthouse is going to Reserve, and this is one you can do as a scav as well as a PMC. At the barracks north of the helicopter, you're going to go into the Black Bishop building. This is the 3-story building with the machine gun nest on it. There's a locked door, RBAK. You can buy the key on the flea market if you'd like to, but there's also a drop down for this room where you can go up onto the 3rd floor, drop down on a balcony and enter the room without the key. The key is actually quite cheap as there's a lot of common knowledge that you can do this drop down. But once you get inside of the room, there are rare tech loot spawns in here. This is a good place to get your gas analyzers, graphics cards, Virtexes, and COFDMs. And if you think about this, if you just run here as a scav, you can quickly get to this building, drop down, check the loot room, and then escape near the fences. And if you're playing as a PMC, you could come here, grab this stuff, and then escape at the manhole. So that's the main place I would check in Reserve. And now I'm going to go on to labs. And this is more prominent if you're playing PvE, as it's much easier to get these loot spawns. But if you're comfortable enough playing PvP, if you rush these areas fast enough, you might be able to get in here without dying, and then you can run to your extract. Now, if you're trying to go to the labs, there are a lot of rare tech spawns around the area without requiring any of the really expensive keys. Just for simplicity, I'm starting at the receptionist desk, and if I turn around, there's the round table, also known as cat, and there are 2 rare spawns here and over here. You can find your Virtex and COFDM in this area. So if you don't find it there, you're gonna go into this side room, and there are various shelves along the left side of this room. You can find tech and rare items all along here. And then in the middle of the floor, you could find rare tech, also on the shelf, and then also on the table is another spot. The next location is right out this room to your right, and you're gonna open this. It's overlooking the garage. And you can have rare tech spawn on this couch here, on the floor, and also on the desk. Once you've checked there, run down into the garage, and next to the red Marin car, there is a rare tech spawn pool at the bottom of this tire right here. And once you've checked there, you can run upstairs, and we're going to head into the weapons testing area. If you're playing PvP, you're going to want to do this as fast as you can, as players generally start to just crowd this area because this is where all the loot is. But if you go inside this dark room here, there are some spawns on the shelving, on top of the safe, and around the tables that you might want to look at. I personally skip this room altogether and go to the other dark room, which is across from the medical tent area on the second floor. I've found tech right in this spot here. I found them on the shelves right here, and across the room on that side. And tech can spawn on the tables, but I like to go in the back where the safe is, and this is where I've seen Virtexes and COFDMs sometimes, right on top of this safe right here. So once you've checked the dark rooms on the second floor, you can go down inside of the weapons testing area near the dome. And there is an open room that doesn't require any keys. If you go inside, you can check along the table and on the floor, and you have a chance of having your tech spawn there. Besides the open room, there is a table with computer components all over it, and that's what you're going to be looking for. You want to skip the laboratory altogether, as you're often just going to find meds. You're never going to find rare tech around here. You want to go to the opposite side and find this yellow tent with all of these computer components. You can find Virtexes, COFDMs, GPUs, and other various tech items on these desks. And once you've searched there, you're going to go into this locked room. And then if you don't find any there, inside here it has a rare tech spawn, and it requires the weapons testing area key. Once you go inside, on the floor there is rare tech spawn. Here I found a microcontroller board. The next place I would check without requiring any major keys is on the second floor in the loading bay security room. You can find rare tech on the floor right here, and in the corner over there by the drawers. If you have labs keycards, I would recommend going into red, violet, or yellow to find your rare tech. The other rooms are medical bays, and you're more likely just to find medical equipment rather than your quest items. You can get your Virtexes and COFDMs on Streets of Tarkov, however there aren't as many tech spawns in that map, and if you're playing PvP, PMCs and scav players rush those tech spawns immediately. Most of the tech spawns are behind locked doors, and the ones that aren't are absolute insane hotspots for people to go get quest items and loot. So honestly, I would avoid Streets of Tarkov altogether. So that's it for my guide. Hopefully this was able to help you find your Virtex or COFDM. If you found this helpful in any way, please leave a like and subscribe as I create Escape from Tarkov task guides. I'll see you in the next one.